map is showing you our voting rights for formerly incarcerated people. Vermont and Maine are the only two states where prisoners can vote. So like you can be locked up and still get a ballot, which I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. These other states, some people just can't vote at all. Other states, you can vote if you have like a misdemeanor charge, but not a felony, and things of that and things of that nature, right? So some people with felony convictions, you can vote upon release, but you still have to go in and like fill out your forms and all that kind of stuff. What is interesting is people say all the time, I'm just one person. My vote doesn't matter. I'm just one person. I'm just one man. I'm just one woman. If your vote didn't matter, they would not try so hard to stop you from doing it. If you were not powerful, if people did not fear your strength, they wouldn't try so hard to tear you down. And that's not just people of color, right? That's poor people as well. One of the things that killed the Black Panther Party movement was they started working with poor white farmers. And the powers that be were like, yo, can't have that. Absolutely cannot have that.
Mhm.
So,
We have
fun
worked
fact.
way too long to separate these people and make them
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
hate one another.
Yep.
Yep.
And now they're
Pretty
coming to
much.
that movement would have been fierce. You get poor people, like poor white people, angry enough. Hell yes. Hell yes. You'll see some shit change, some stuff change, excuse me. Edit that out, whatevs. Another reason that the Black Panther Party fell into unfavorability was because they're the ones that started the free lunch program. So you
Mhm.
start feeding those kids that weren't getting fed, started getting fed. And there have been several studies done where when oh gosh, what school district was it? It's not just a district, it's a state. There was a state that started publicly funding school lunches because they knew that some of those kids, that was their only meal. They started doing that, and
Minnesota does.
the next semester, their kids' test scores shot through the roof like exponentially. They thought, oh, okay, give it a couple years and we'll see some differences. It was literally the next semester. The next semester, those kids started sitting still, paying attention. Behavioral issues dropped, fights stopped. Like it's just wild. And so when you see a iconoclastic group come in, start making changes, and then start feeding people, that is when you're going to see people, the forces that oppose that type of behavior start getting real antsy. You start feeding people, they start paying attention to you. So we're talking about these convicts, these felons, they can't vote, but who cares? There couldn't possibly be that many people impacted by this. That would be where you are absolutely wrong. If you look at this graph, if you look at this table, right now we have about 2 million people locked up. If you look at how many people have been locked up, formerly incarcerated, it's about 4.9 million. Ever convicted of a felony, 19 million. Have a criminal record, 79 million. Have an immediate family member who's ever been in prison or jail, 113 million. It's 113 million people who are impacted by this system.
That's a
And what's
third of the US population.
it's a third of us. What is wild to me is that right now the low estimate's about 4.6 million, and the higher end of the estimate is about 6 million. It's between 4.6 and 6 million people, convicted felons, that cannot vote right now. 4.6 million people, that would swing the election. Like, yikes. We did a civics academy a couple weeks ago where we talked about how, how they say, my vote doesn't matter. Well, we actually had stats that showed that just one vote could change the course of an election, could change the course of policy. In Anchorage, there was a vote that was decided with a coin toss because it was so close, right? You add 4.6 million people into the mix, 4.6 million people who've been wronged by the judicial system or take umbrage with how they were treated. That is how policy gets changed, and that is why it is so hard for these folks to vote. So I got some not so fun facts, and we're just going to kind of go through them. 4.4 million people are disenfranchised due to a felony conviction. And what's great is this has come down. It's come down by 24% since 2016, which fantastic. My goodness. So there's a lot of work going into curtailing this and ending um ending the practice of not allowing convicted felons to vote. 1 out of 50 adults, 2% of our total population is disenfranchised due to a current or previous felony conviction. 3 out of 4 people disenfranchised are living in their communities, having fully completed their sentences or remain supervised while on probation or parole. So these are folks in your neighborhood. You wave to them, you say hi. Maybe not your neighborhood because you kind of live remotely, but if you came into Anchorage, these would be the people that were next to you at the grocery store or the bank or wherever. So these are like just average, everyday people who did their time and are trying to move forward with their lives. 2 states, Alabama and Tennessee, more than 8% of the adult population, that's 1 out of every 13 people, is disenfranchised. What is the majority of the people, the racial demographics, I'd hazard to guess, of Tennessee and Alabama? Shocker. Shocker who lives there. And once again, Florida bringing up the rear. Love it so much. Florida has
Florida.
1.1 million people currently banned from voting. It
What?
is wild.
I thought they re-enfranchised folks.
So no, as
I
of
know they
as
voted for it, and then I know
they
the
did.
legislature said that folks had to pay their bills before
This is
they could
exactly
be
where I'm going with this.
disenfranchised. Is
This is
that
where I'm
is
going with
that
this.
how they kept them
Yep.
disenfranchised?
Yep.
Nice.
So are you familiar?
1.1 million. That's more people than are in Alaska.